Okay, Hilah, could you describe what's your passion?
I think what it boils down to is I am passionate about encouraging people and inspiring people to learn how to do stuff on their own. If that's like cooking or making videos on YouTube, I really like helping people feel empowered that they can do stuff on their own and they can learn new skills.
So, what's your main motivation behind what you're doing? Is that also about the inspiration, or what makes you get up every morning and stay so consistent with your friends, producing new videos all the time?
Um, I think one of my favorite parts of making YouTube videos is the fact that I do actually feel like I'm making friends around the world because I've been doing this for almost 6 years now. So there's a lot of people that I've never met and I might never meet in real life, but because we've spent so much time commenting back and forth and chatting online about food, I feel like I really know them. And it's really cool too because there's some people who have watched grow from a very beginner nervous kind of cook to people who are now making up their own recipes, and it's really cool to see people progress that way.
So, to take a little bit of a look into your life, how does your everyday routine look like, or your weekly routine? How can we imagine your life at the moment?
Okay. Well, I just had a baby. My husband and I had a baby about, well, he's almost a year old now, so almost a year ago. And
Congrats.
so now it's a lot different than it was before that. Although we're finally feels like we're starting to get back into a regular routine. Um, but yeah, I usually spend the first part of my day sort of going through and responding to people on social media, website questions, Facebook questions about recipes, YouTube questions. And then the second part of my day is either spent working on new recipes, testing recipes and creating recipes, or shooting. We typically shoot videos in the afternoon, and then I'll take the still photography for those and then write up a blog post. Okay, so I started this with my husband, although at the time we were just friends, and we just started doing it together as a video project that we could do together and that we could have control over. We had worked on previously some short comedy films together, and then an indie feature that ended up not getting finished. So after that, Chris suggested that we do a web show, and it seemed like a cooking show would be sort of an easy way to start on YouTube. And so now we do it all together, just the two of us. He shoots it, and then I'll usually go through and edit, do the rough cuts, and then he'll go back and do the color correction and sort of a fine cut and put the graphics on and everything. And then he's also in charge of the website design, pretty much all the design, like website and cookbooks and everything. And then I handle the recipe creation and the social media part of it. So we work really, really well together, and I feel very lucky about that. And it seems like we've got a good system. Although we are looking at hiring an editor soon, just because we've been doing it for so long, neither of us really wants to do it anymore. and
Yeah.
and now that we have a baby too, it kind of feels like we've definitely got a lot less time during the week to focus on work because a lot of it has to be taken up playing with the baby and taking care of the baby. So I guess we're just thinking that if we have a limited amount of time to work on the business, that maybe editing is not the best use of that time.
Sure. That's it. And you do from
Yeah, we shoot all the videos in our own kitchen. When we started, it was a house that I owned that I had redone myself, and it's like bright orange, like Brady Bunch countertops. which was fun. I thought it was a really fun kitchen. I still like that kitchen, but it was really, really dark and kind of tiny and really hard to shoot in. And then we, maybe 2 years after we started the show, 2 or 3 years, we sold that house. And now we're in house number 3 that we've shot in. So our kitchens have kept getting like bigger and brighter, which makes it a lot easier to shoot in, which is nice. More windows and just more space to set up lights and everything. So now we've got a pretty good setup, but still not quite ideal. I keep taking notes about what kind of ideal kitchen I would design for the specific purpose of shooting a cooking show. With cooking, I just always have cooked. I think probably I started baking, like making cookies and brownies and stuff when I was around 7. And my parents were always really encouraged me to and allowed me to get in the kitchen. They weren't overly concerned that I was going to injure myself or anything. And then probably by around the age 12 or 13, I was cooking dinner for the family because my mom was in school and my dad was working. So I would get dinner started a lot of times before they got home. And it was, I don't know, I guess I always just really enjoyed reading cookbooks when I was a kid. I liked to read a lot. And I would just sit and read cookbooks. And I think having read all that at such an early age, I really absorbed a lot of information so that now I feel like it's intuitive what flavors go together just because I've read so many recipes, even if I didn't actually cook them. I don't know. That's what I think.
Then you already said how you came to the YouTube videos that you started with your husband. But what was the main intention when you did that? You just thought, oh, how did you get started with the videos then?
So Chris came from like a film background, and so I guess it was 2009 when Chris had written and was directing a horror movie, like an indie horror movie, kind of a comedy horror movie. And he cast me in it, and we got about half of the footage shot before the producer pulled out. And so we never got to finish it. And Chris had quit his job to do the movie and hadn't taken a paycheck. So he was basically just broke and unhireable because he didn't really have any real job skills. So he went to stay with his mom for about 6 months. And while he was there, he taught himself how to do website design and SEO. And then when he finally moved back to Austin, he was able to get a job using what he had taught himself. And but he still wanted to do video stuff. And we really enjoyed working together. We'd been friends for probably 4 years before that. And just really always got along well. And so he suggested doing a web show because he kind of really, I think he wanted to use his new SEO stuff and website design skills to see if he could do something on YouTube that would make money. And I didn't really think it would ever make money, but I wanted to do something with him. And it seemed like a fun little weekend project we could do together because I was working a day job that I didn't like. And I think we both felt a little like needing some sort of creative outlet. So yeah, we just started doing it. We did a couple of test episodes just to see, sort of test out like different shots and angles, and with the idea that those would never be seen by the public. Cause I think I was kind of nervous just cause it's one thing to act and have lines and stuff, but it's a totally different thing to just talk to someone on a camera. So it took me a while to sort of figure out how to do that comfortably. And we just tried to improve little by little. When we started out, we were just using like a little flip cam and a janky tripod, like a really cheap still photo tripod, and like a lamp with a shower curtain hung up from the ceiling to diffuse the light. So, I mean, I think probably all in all, our equipment cost like under $400. And then we just started improving things as we could afford to. And my dogs are barking. And now it's a pretty professional but small setup.
Okay. But about your success, I mean, we see that you have tons of subscribers on YouTube that you thought you would never make money with it, but now you do. So, what are your secrets to success? How did you manage to get so many people engaged? Yeah, how did you do it?
I think consistency is a huge thing on YouTube. We made it. We decided when we first started we were going to produce 100 episodes and then decide whether we should continue. And so we did. I think for like the first 2 years, I don't think we ever missed a week. We would upload one video a week, and I think that was hugely important. I honestly think that it would have even worked better if I had embraced YouTube more at the beginning. It took me probably at least 6 months to really see the value in YouTube beyond just a place to host a video. I guess I just kind of thought, like a lot of people still think, that it's all just like trolls and people uploading cat videos. But once I started looking at the comments and started seeing that people were actually interested in cooking and interested in recipes, it got to be a lot more fun. And then I was able to embrace YouTube fully as its own social network. So I think that's really important too, is just understanding that, yeah, that people on YouTube are real people that have, then they're just there because they are interested in a subject and want to learn more about it.
And did you do anything special to push people to get them to your channel? You probably used other social media.
We did the first like 100 episodes were fairly well planned out. I say that because sometimes we really hadn't planned well and we would just shoot a video based on whatever I had in the pantry. But but for the most part, we tried to make recipes that we thought we could rank well for on SEO. Like if someone was searching on YouTube for how to make an omelet or how to make tortillas and stuff like that, sort of basic building blocks. Because another idea about the show in general, the purpose of the show, was that it would be targeted towards adults who never learned how to cook. So that's why there's some cuss words and some dark humor sometimes, because it's not really a show for kids. Yeah. It didn't start out that way. But now that I think that a lot of my audience is getting older too, and like me, have had kids, like I get a lot of people saying, oh, my 3-year-old loves to watch your show, or my 4-year-old loves to watch your show. And I'm like, oh, I should start like censoring the cuss words maybe a little bit, just because I don't want to discourage kids from watching it because their parents aren't comfortable with that. So I don't know. But yeah, mostly we just started out with SEO on YouTube, and my husband actually wrote a book about it last year or maybe 2 years ago that he's revising right now, called the YouTube Black Book, that's on Amazon. That's basically all about how we did it at the beginning with SEO and how to do keyword optimization and all that stuff. And then once we sort of had a base, I guess, that had been brought up from that, then it was a lot easier to grow it faster and more, and just organically, I think.
Of course, but so it was very helpful what your husband taught himself before, of course. Very good. And what do you think, what would you call your 3 main aha moments or key learnings in your life, like for Hilah cooking or maybe even before?
I don't know. That's a good question. Let's see. I don't know. I guess, I mean, this seems like so long ago, and it was, but I guess in 4th grade, I did a school play, and I was the lead. And I think that's when I realized that I really liked entertaining people and acting and stuff like that. And then when we started the YouTube show, and I think honestly, like just realizing that that YouTube is such a great tool for connecting with people with your same interests and talking to them. That was a major element in like the business side of things. And then I don't know. I guess honestly, until probably 2 years ago, even though I knew that I'm a good cook or whatever, because I never went to any kind of culinary school or had any kind of chef training, I think I had a little bit of like imposter syndrome where I was like, okay, I can make these recipes. I felt like a little nervous if someone would ask me a question about a culinary technique that didn't really necessarily have to do with the recipe that I had posted about. And I was like, oh, am I really qualified to be answering these questions? And then, yes, I am. I was like, you know what? I've read enough books and I've cooked long enough that I can feel confident in answering people's questions, and I shouldn't feel bad because I didn't actually go to culinary school. But lately, I have been thinking that I would like to go to culinary school just for fun, like even if it's just maybe a 6-week class or something. Maybe just to get some more of the more, I don't know, knife techniques or something. I don't know. I guess basically just to make sure that I'm doing it right and maybe to get some new inspiration, really. I think it would be very inspiring to do that.
Yeah, I can imagine. But it's funny. I would like to elaborate a little bit more on that because your husband and yourself, you're both basically making a living out of something you taught yourself. So you taught yourself cooking because you read cookbooks all your life and you just tried it out. And your husband taught himself website development, SEO, and these things. And like this, you're making a living out of it. Do you think that teaching yourself is something that a lot of people can do? That is, I don't know, because you see this thing about culinary schools. Like lots of people say, yeah, you're not a cook if you don't go to culinary school, but you are a cook, and so many people trust you and believe you, and you can be confident in what you do. So you think teaching yourself is a good method and is maybe even a trend at the moment?
I do. It's definitely a great method. I think, I mean, I think it has to be something that you're interested in, I think, or else it just doesn't work because you won't have the discipline to do it because it's like so much repetition. But if you're interested in it, then yeah, I think you can teach yourself how to do anything. There's so much information out there, and especially now, like not just books, but also YouTube, like video tutorials. Like you can honestly find one for anything. It's pretty amazing. Um, yeah, and I think that's sort of what is empowering is when people realize like, oh yeah, I can do that myself. And I think with culinary school, there's tons of people that work in kitchens that are highly respected cooks that didn't go to culinary school. They just worked in kitchens for 20 years. Um, so yeah, I mean, on the job training basically, I think is every bit as valuable as actually as just, going to school, and maybe sometimes more because you actually do get to work like in the field, like live. Um, yeah. I mean, yes, you can totally teach yourself anything if you want to learn it.
Very good. Yeah, I agree. um, and what do you think in your life, and especially in highlight cooking, what were your mistakes that you've done, takeaways, things you would do differently if you'd do it all over again?
Yeah, things I would do differently. Definitely, I would have taken YouTube more seriously at the beginning, like I had mentioned before, and actually all social media. Like I remember when Chris set me up with a Twitter account for Hilah Cooking, and I was like, I literally told him that he could just go ahead and tweet for me because I wasn't really interested in learning how to tweet. And he was like, okay. So I think I was like, you know how I talk. You can just do all the tweeting. And I finally took over, and I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. And I think I just naturally have a disinclination towards learning new technology and new programs and stuff. Um, and it's weird. Like even though I edit the videos, I still feel kind of stupid about technology. And some of the things I think I would have changed. Don't necessarily. We wouldn't have had any control over it. Like the food photography, we didn't. Well, we didn't really do any beginning. We just pull a screenshot to use for a thumbnail. We probably didn't start taking still shots of the food until like maybe 3 years after we started. Another thing I think is really cool, and again, I don't know if we really could have done it because we just moved to LA a couple months ago, Austin, Texas before that. And it's hard to find other people to collaborate with and other people who make YouTube videos. So it can be a really isolating job, honestly, because you might live in a town where you're the only person making YouTube videos for a living. And it's really hard to, I mean, it's a weird job. I remember the first year we went to VidCon and we came back, we were so excited because we were like, okay, we're not crazy. Like there's tons of people that actually do this for a living. This is possible. We're not just like these weird delusional losers in Austin. So I think, I guess I wish that I had like reached out to more people at the beginning, even if they didn't live nearby, just to like make friends with other YouTube people rather than feeling either intimidated or jealous of them. And I wish that I had realized that like we all have this one thing in common and it's kind of unusual. So we should be friends. But now I'm glad that we live in LA where there's several people who I've known for years that we've met in person now, and it's really fun and like shooting collaborations together. And I guess it's fun to like help other people and be able to like talk shop with people. So I wish I had done that earlier, and I'm sure that Chris would agree with that.
So you see, it's very helpful that you've moved to LA as well, because there's like the hub of the big YouTubers. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like there's big YouTubers here, but there's just so many more people. I mean, even if they're not like huge YouTubers, even if they don't have a bigger channel than we do, it's still really cool to just have other people to talk to about it and like talk about strategy and just like whatever, talk about ideas for, social media campaigns and like stuff like that. And just to do video collaborations together, it's really fun.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And what's your plan now for Hilah cooking in the future? Where are you taking the channel to? What are the next steps?
Well, we are just starting a little experiment where we do paid video classes, like video cookbook, basically, because I think we've self-published 6 cookbooks in the last almost 6 years, and they sell pretty well. But when I did a poll with my newsletter subscribers, most people said they prefer learning through video rather than cookbooks. So we are doing a little test now where we made a Mexican homestyle cooking class with a friend of ours, Carlos, who's been on the show as a guest several times. He's from Mexico and he just really loves to cook and he loves to share his family recipes. So he's like definitely one of the favorite guests that we've had on the show. People will actually request to see him again. So we did a little video series, like 13 videos together with a PDF of the cookbook and everything. And we're going to launch that this week and see how that does. So if that works, then we'll do more classes like that. I've got a couple other ideas that I've been working on for video cookbooks. And then another thing is next year I do want to find a publisher and do a big, beautiful color book. Because so far it's really cost prohibitive to self-publish color photography and like hardcover cookbooks. So, but I think we're definitely established enough that we should be able to find a publisher and
I guess so.
And do a real beautiful book.
But then you said you're going to do like a paid video cookbook in one magazine. Are you going to do it like on your website or how are you going to do it?
Yeah, we're going to promote it through YouTube videos, and then it'll be sold through a platform called Gumroad. that allows you to like upload videos and then people can download them. And then also like download the PDF, and it kind of keeps it all in one location for them. So, and they take a percentage, but I think it's worth it just to not have to like build the framework ourselves to sell it. It's like a really simple system for people to use. And Chris, my husband, actually also produces the yoga channel Yoga with Adrian, and their audience has loved, like they've done a few different courses now for like kind of more specific yoga videos. Something, I guess that's what part of it is too, is like it's a way to give people what they're asking for, but when really maybe they're kind of not what most people want, but it's like if people want a more specific subject matter, then it's a way to do that. But yeah, the yoga audience has loved these like courses that they can buy and download. Because also something that was kind of surprising that we figured out is a lot of people have really slow internet, so it's easier for them to be able to download a video and watch it whenever they want rather than have to stream it all the time, which surprised me, I guess.
So, what is your advice for people who want to start following their passion and creating something out of their passion? What would be your advice for people?
Um, yeah, it's going to take a long time, probably, and you will probably have to have a day job for a while and just spend your weekends doing it. But I do think that as long as you're consistent and as long as you present the information in an entertaining, creative way, I mean, I think people will find your videos because of what you're telling them, because of your knowledge, but they'll keep returning if they like you and they trust you. So, yeah, if you know what you're talking about, I think people can tell. And if you're excited about what you're talking about, then people can definitely tell. And if you have both of those things and you just keep at it, then you will have as good a chance as anyone.